This is Ivan, and here is the part 2 of the video. Ask the lazy to teach you how to work. Now, I said that there is a lot of wisdom, and there is a lot of wisdom on that. And first of all, I will give you an example of myself. That is a personal example, and then I will go to explain. So in 1994, I guess, or 1995, I was already a very successful business person. In the age I was back then, I was like 23 years or 24 years, so I had couple of businesses: pizza places, restaurants, national kitchen restaurant, radio station, clothing company. And I had to put a lot of work. Back then, in reality, I wasn't a smart businessman. All I did was very, very hard work. And I had good habits. Thanks to my family, they come from a working class people, so they installed in me a very good habits. Like, for example, one of these habits is, it might sound very stupid, but clean the dishes immediately after you finish the work. That's a good habit. Another habit I had installed from my family was when you wake up in the morning, the first thing you do, you fix your bed. And when you are a small kid, if these kind of good habits are installed in you, they can get you very far away in business. So I had those good habits installed from my family. Work hard, be disciplined, show up on time, don't be late. When you do something, do it completely. Finish the projects no matter what. Do what it takes to complete the project, no matter what the project was: cleaning the dishes or setting up a business. It doesn't matter. But now, through the years, you know, like, I got too much business and I became slightly comfortable, right? You get into this point that you start making, let's say, back then in 1993, 94, I used to make, like, on a daily basis, I used to make 10 to 20, some days to 50, even to 100 times per day what the average person was making. Yeah, that was me back then, but not now. So now I have these good habits. I used to work very hard. I used to do a lot of work, and it get me somewhere, to some level. But now, let's get back to the lazy. How you can learn from the lazy person to teach you how to work. And at that time, I used to have a friend that had, like, slightly different background. His parents was rich. He kind of didn't have all these habits: work hard, work too much, complete the task. But he had something that I didn't have. And that thing was revealed in one of our conversations. Back then I could not understand what he was talking about, but later on in life I did understand what he was talking about. So he was just saying, Ivan, what is all this work for? You work so hard, you have, like, all these places, 4 restaurants, coffee shop, national kitchen, you're working on this, you're opening this bar, you're opening this, you want to build a disco club, you have this company for clothing stores, and all this work for nothing. Now, I could not tell him that it wasn't for nothing, but he was seeing it differently. He was seeing it too much work for not too much results. Because at that time, that's what I was actually doing. I was running like crazy, I had like a couple of people just doing the deliveries. I had 2 suppliers, 2 guys was just constantly running and supplying all these restaurants for the clothing little company that I had. That was like about 10 people, 15 people, 20 people clothing company. I was doing the supplies myself. I was running all around to inside the country and even out of the country, all the way to Turkey and Greece to source out good fabrics. I was doing all this work, right? So my friend was, let's call him the lazy guy. He was telling me, why all this work for so much nothing in return? So much work and nothing in return. You're just running around. And he was bluntly but honestly claiming that I'm like kind of stupid. And yes, the reality is that at that point I was really stupid. I was doing like a really what other people, I was doing 10 times or 50 times more work than the average person. My time back then was wake up 10 in the morning and go back to sleep 3, 4 in the morning, you know. That was my schedule. 10 in the morning I wake up and then run all day, all night, going to somewhere else. So, in a matter of fact, I was like putting a lot of work. But let's dig deep in my friend's thinking process. And I told him, hey, listen, you know, I'm doing it because I like it. It gives me thrill. I had my defenses and I had my justifications. And here I want to open something about these justifications. The human mind is very unique thing. If you're doing something wrong, which I was doing at that time, the human mind is brilliant ability to justify all the things you do, right and wrong. That's the purpose of the mind, justifying whatever you're doing, and in other words, translating this into sense. You know, when you hear some people in business or in life, they would say, yes, this does make sense. Yes, it does make sense. Yeah, but it does make sense only in their mind. So that's why when you talk to someone, if he is like-minded, when you say this little phrase, oh yeah, this makes sense, if they are like-minded people, if you are talking to a business person and you're a business person, yes, you can touch base somewhere, you know, that would make sense. But let's get back to this lazy friend of mine that I used to have. And he had a different vision. Let's say he didn't want it to work so hard. He didn't want it to work so much. He didn't have even the discipline. But he told me, hey, listen, this is what I did. I had this apartment. I put some $3,000, $4,000 in the apartment. I sold the apartment and I made $15,000 out of this. This was a lot of money back then. Back in my country, that was like $15,000. That's like you can live at that time, 1994. That was a lot of money. And let's say I was producing this kind of money for a couple of months and he was, boom, doing it in one shot. Because the mind of the lazy person, let's get back to the slogan. Learn how to work from the lazy person. And is there any sense in that? So, to find out if this is true, we have to go deep in the human nature. And the human nature, it's some people want to give back, some people are righteous, some people are honorable, some people are decent people, good people, and they want to give back. They want to give themselves to the community, to their friends, to their lovers. We're gonna call them, these people, the givers, right? There is a there is a TED talk about the giver. You know, in the long run they would succeed a lot, but in the long run means when they die. That's the irony of the giver. When they die, everybody, when they when they die, everybody will turn around and they will just say, well, this guy or this girl or this person, yes, that was a good man, right? But in business is not like this. In business, other elements play more. Where the human nature, the other part of the human nature, we are egocentrical, we are selfish, we only think for ourselves. And apparently in the business world, somehow this type of people propel. Or if they are lazy, they actually put a lot of work in thinking. So let's put it this way. When you say to a lazy person, hey, let's set up this business, let's buy this vehicle and rent out the vehicle, and we're gonna set up a shop and we're gonna go around and we're gonna do, for example, moving services. The lazy person will tell you something like this. Well, I like this idea, but it's kind of too hard. I don't see myself doing delivery services and making $100, $200, $500. How come we just buy this vehicle, but we have to buy it very cheap? That's what the lazy person thinks. So the lazy person always thinks leverage. Instead of buying a vehicle and going and you put yourself as a slave of this business, the lazy person would suggest, wait a minute, let's do a little bit of thinking. If we go and if we buy this vehicle, what we can make? We can make like 150, 200, 300 bucks a day, 500 top. When we take all our expenses, we're gonna probably end up with 200, 300, or maybe. So the lazy person would say something like this. You know what? Let's find how much this vehicle costs on the market, average price. Let's say it's $10,000. And we're gonna find somebody that is desperate and it sells this vehicle for $6,000. And then we're gonna go and we're gonna grind this guy. We're gonna give him $3,000 cash and we're gonna say, hey, here is $3,000 cash, take it or leave it. Most likely the guy will break even with bad negotiations. It will get to 4, 5, probably 6. But it's already a good deal. And it's gonna be like, we buy the vehicle for, let's say, $5,000. Let's put it back in the market for $10,000 and just wait. And that's how lazy people think. Hey, come here.
What's up, buddy?
Now, I'm making a video. That's a buddy of mine. He's a hard-working person.
Hello.
I want to ask your opinion about, do you think that the lazy people think differently than the hard-working person? Or first of all, let me ask you, where do you place yourself? Hard-working or lazy working?
Very hard-working.
Very hard-working person. Have you seen somebody who is not so hard-working person but does better results than you?
Every day.
Well, how these people think?
Well, I don't know how they think.
Honestly.
The way I look at it, this may not be good for the video, but
Fuck the video.
It's
this is an honest video, by the way.
if it's meant for you to be successful on a day, it's meant for you to be. Now, if you work hard, obviously you can have more success. But sometimes good things happen to bad people.
Yes.
Bad things happen to good people.
Correct.
And it goes the opposite way as well. But sometimes it can be very discouraging to see someone who is lazy to have more success. But it should make you always work harder.
Correct. Now, I want to ask you this very peculiar question. Why do you think some lazy people are more successful than some hardworking people? What is it? Is it the way they think? Is it the way they behave? Is it the way you have something in your head? You know someone that is like more lazy than you, but somehow, what do you think is the distinguisher, this particular quality that...
That's, if I could answer that question, I think I would be rich. I would be lazy if I could answer that question. I would be a lazy worker.
I see.
But that's a very good question.
That's a very good question. How successful people, how some successful people are being lazy and still successful? That's the key, I guess. For the, we want to know this thing, what they do, how they think, what they behave, and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. That's it's a very tough subject. It hurts to see people who are lazy making more money, but never give up. Never give up.
Correct.
Always work hard. You feel better in your own mind when you work hard. Lazy people, they know they're lazy. Hardworking people, they have a sense of accomplishment, whether they've been successful or not sometimes. You know you tried. You know you worked hard.
Exactly. That was a very good ending and a very good twist on the video, which I like. Tell them to subscribe.
Guys, subscribe, like the video, share it, tell all your friends.
That's it. That's it. Thank you.
Bye.